All right, let's begin with a little question. Has there ever been a time in your life when you had huge anticipation for something, where you had built up this expectation for either a particular event or a location, a destination you were going to, or a relationship, somebody you were going to meet, or something where expectation is really high, and then that day comes when you arrive at whatever it was that you were expecting, and there's a serious feeling of letdown. You look around and say, really? This is what I was so excited, this is what I was looking forward to? This isn't exactly what I want. How does that relate to section 58 and 57 before that?
Well, that's a great analogy, Tyler. I think you can take the whole Jackson County experience of the Latter-day Saints between 1831 and 1833 and say, high expectations, things did not work out any way, shape, or form that they anticipated. I think the Lord really refined and polished these people in ways that he's building, not only trying to help them build Zion, but not only that, but to build a Zion person of one heart and one mind. And this will be a great schoolmaster for the Latter-day Saints.
That's an interesting point, because sometimes it's really easy for us, sitting in the comfort and the ease of the 21st century, looking back through the corridor of time and space and distance at these people and reading their stories and seeing what's going on. It's really simple for us to make fun of them or mock them or look down our nose at them when they struggle, when in reality, I don't know anybody who'd want to trade places with any of these people in Jackson County in 1831 through 33 and what tribulation they have in front of them and what they're going to go through. So when some of them struggle, I think we should have a little bit of historical compassion and say, you know what, let the Lord be their final judge. Let's learn what we can from their example. But at the end of the day, not have it be an exercise in judgment and condemnation.
It's really well said. These people are on the edge of the American frontier. This is not New York City. This is not Ohio. This is rough conditions. Plus, not only the environment, but again, the people they're associating with are of different mindset, different values, different culture, different backgrounds. This is going to be a real struggle for Latter-day Saints. I kind of like to compare it with oil and water. It's not a real good mix, and yet in spite of that, I have to admire them for what they tried to do in really laying the foundation of Zion and trying to establish it as the Lord tried to direct through the revelations for them to do.
That's a good point, because today in our church, we're still benefiting from and building more upon that foundation which they laid in Jackson County in 1831 through 33. Still, to this day, we're benefiting and continuing to build Zion in many ways across the world, in all of the stakes of the church, not just in this center place in western Missouri, but across the world. We're benefiting from some of the tribulations that they endured.
And the most interesting thing, I think, today is we're actually back in Jackson County. The church is very strong there. We have kind of planted ourselves again in that area. We have a temple there. The Lord's preparing that place. It is not to be moved out of its place. There's no other place for the city of the New Jerusalem save independence. So although they didn't establish it, we are still, in a sense, as Latter-day Saints, helping to prepare the way for the full, development of the city of Zion for the return of the Savior.
Okay, now let's get ready to dive in here. So before we launch into section 58, give us a quick overview. Bring us back up to speed from section 57 and the journey westward.
I think that's important. You got to lay the groundwork for this early period of Jackson County and the Saints. So what happens here is, of course, in section 52, Joseph Smith has this conference in Kirtland, and during that conference in section 52, it's actually 14 companionships, or 28 elders are called to go journey to Missouri. We have the branches from New York are all there now, and we're going to now call the opportunity for elders to go down and actually begin that process of establishing Zion. And then in the next succeeding chapters, sections, I should say, we have others added to that group. We have A. Sidney Gilbert, we'll just call him Sidney Gilbert in section 53. Section 54, the Colesville branch has asked all of them to go down and establish Zion because of some problems there with Lehman Copley, which you've talked about.
Yes.
And then in section 55, we have W.W. Phelps, and he's arrived, is going to be baptized. He's a printer, and they're saying, well, if we're going to establish Zion, let's have a printing company down there. And Phelps is the perfect one. And then in section 56, poor Thomas B. Marsh has got a problem with his companion, can't go. So the Lord gives him another companion, Selah Griffin. And so we have that companionship worked out. But Selah Griffin's companion was Newell Knight, and Newell Knight's now going to lead the Colesville branch. So we've got everybody now kind of lined up. And all total, 30 individuals are now going to go to Missouri during the months of June, July, August. Now, there's 29 men and 1 woman. Sidney Gilbert's wife goes with him. And on June 19th, 1831, Joseph Smith and 7 others in his party make their way to Zion, to Missouri. They arrive on July 14th, and Joseph's now surveying the area, going, okay, this is it. And he comes to Independence, we know that. By the way, this would have been a wonderful reunion with Joseph and Oliver. He hasn't seen him for 9 months. Peter Whitmer Jr., Ziba Peterson, and he meets Frederick G. Williams, who had joined that missionary to the Lamanite contingent. And so he's becoming familiar with the area. And then, of course, here comes section 57. Joseph has seen the little small development community, settlement community of Independence. There's a 2-story brick courthouse in the public square. And not surprising, that's the kind of focal point of the community. And so what does the Lord tell Joseph Smith in section 57? But we're going to come down here, and this is the first time he really mentions temple.
That's right.
And he says that the spot for a temple, and boy, Joseph's probably thinking Jerusalem and everything else, is on a spot not far from the courthouse, lying westward. You look at that today, it's about a half a mile just down the Westport Road. So, and in that revelation, of course, there's other directions. They're supposed to purchase the land, and that's one of the reasons Partridge is there, and also A. Sidney Gilbert is to be the negotiators and get that land started to be purchased. We've got a little change of assignment. W.W. Phelps is actually called to be the printer, and Oliver's to assist him. Initially, it was Oliver and William to assist him, but definitely Phelps is the better of the two. He's more experienced. And so now they're there, and the Latter-day Saints who are supposed to be there are starting to come. And so on July 26th, the first group of coming from the Colesville settlement arrive. They don't arrive in Independence. They arrive a little west, come up the, they're actually on a boat, or steamboat. They come up the Blue River, and they come and settle right there at the home of Joshua Lewis. And this is I think he's an important figure. A lot of Latter-day Saints have...
He's one that most probably haven't heard of, but we should have heard of him.
Yes. And Joshua Lewis is a convert of the missionaries to the Lamanites. And he owns 28 acres, and his property will become the Whitmer settlement, part of that. And so they come here, and now Joseph goes, what? Boy, we have enough people here. Let's see what we need to be doing. And 5 days later, we have the August 1 Revelation section 58. So now this revelation is going to instruct them. What do we need to do now that we're starting to assemble in Jackson County?